we will get started here. So, Chris, first for me, can you just introduce yourself and a little bit about your expertise?
Sure. So my name's Chris Dougherty. I am a longtime RV technician and instructor, and I teach not only consumers for the PRVCA, but also technicians. And I'm also a journalist in the business. I write articles mostly on a technical nature for some different publications in the industry. And I've been around RVs pretty much my whole life, so about 50 years or so. And so it's something that I've grown up with and done a lot of over the years.
First, can you tell me why is fall maintenance for your RV important to understand? Specifically for the consumer, what can they be doing, and why is it important for them to understand their fall maintenance?
Absolutely great question and very important to keep in mind. So when most people in North America, especially in the northern half, are going to be putting their RV in storage for the winter. And so as a result of that, there's some maintenance things that need to be done to protect it during the winter time. It's also a good opportunity to get some of the bigger maintenance steps out of the way. So when you go to open up in the spring, the unit is set and ready to go. So there's a few different things that we want to look at. First and foremost is plumbing system winterization, right? If you're in a freezing climate, you're going to want to protect the plumbing system in the RV. You're going to do that with RV plumbing system antifreeze, specific part. And so you want to make sure that when you're doing that, that you're making sure that you're covering every part of the plumbing system. And if you have a larger RV or you have, like, you may have a washer dryer, for instance, or a dishwasher, things like that, filters, you want to make sure all those things are taken care of, right? And make sure that that they've been properly winterized and protected. The other thing, you want to protect the rest of your coach. So that can involve cleaning. You want to make sure that you remove any food products from the RV at all. One of the things that people do have an issue with sometimes are mice, especially in RVs. So you don't want to have a food source for them there that's going to help attract them, right? So we want to make sure we're getting all that out and we're cleaning the interior of the RV thoroughly and protecting anything that the mice could get into from a standpoint of nesting or that type of thing. So, it's putting soft goods into plastic bins or removing them from the coach altogether, and making sure anything that's in the RV is clean, right? So sheets and things like that. It's a good opportunity also to deep clean things like carpet and the flooring and things like that so that it's nice and clean when the unit is finally sealed up and put away for the winter. On the outside of the RV and on the chassis, we of course do want to clean the RV thoroughly and really recommend going up on the roof or having someone go up on the roof and do seal maintenance. This is something that should happen, about every 3 months, every 90 days. You want to look at the seals on your RV. Some manufacturers actually that require that as part of their warranty. We're going to make sure to go through our outside storage compartments, make sure that we've got everything is clean and organized there. And again, we're looking for anything that could attract rodents, that we're going to put away and make sure everything's dry. Some people put chemical dehumidifiers in the RVs. They have ones you can hang up and that kind of thing. And those work pretty well at helping to dry, keep the RV dried out. And that's going to keep it fresher for the season. If you have a motorized RV or you have an RV that has a generator, it's a great time to do your oil change service and your chassis maintenance. We recommend doing this before storage. As you use a combustion engine, the oil in the motor will get acidic and get dirty. So it's nice to be able, before you're going to put it in storage for a long period of time to do that oil change. That way, it's got nice clean oil in there, and you're also going to, especially if you have a gas or diesel engine, you're going to want to treat the fuel, okay, that's in there before storage. So there are different additives like Stable and some other ones that are designed for diesel fuels and gasoline to stabilize it over the season so that it keeps it in prime condition. And you want to make sure you're running that fuel through the engines and you want to have full fuel when you put the unit away. That reduces the chance of condensation in the tank
Mhm.
while it's in storage. So that works out pretty well. We do recommend covering an RV, but don't use a tarp to cover an RV. You're going to want to cover it with an RV cover or put it in a building, ideally, if you can, in either of those situations, right? And the reason we don't recommend tarps is tarps are plastic and they have a tendency of abrading the side of the unit and even the roof. They also don't breathe at all. So, as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, you have this condensation concern. And so any moisture that does get underneath the tarp will have a tendency of staying there. And then you can have a mildew scenario in the spring when you open it up. So we also want to cover and protect the tires on the RV. So they do make tire covers that you can use if you have an RV cover that goes almost all the way to the ground. That should be sufficient, for the most part. But make sure your tires are clean before you put them in. Your tire manufacturer may have recommendations as far as inflation is concerned. What we generally recommend is you want to keep the tires out of the dirt. So if you're on pavement or on concrete, that's probably going to be fine. If you're in a spot that's on dirt or gravel, especially where water can be standing, it's usually better to drive the tires up onto a surface of some kind, right? So it could be boards or it could be like links levelers or something along those lines to park them up there and make sure that they are inflated to their maximum inflation pressure. Okay.
Okay.
That keeps them from, reduces the chance of having a flat spot.
Great. And is there anything else you wanted to add to that? I know you just had a big old mouthful full of helpful information.
So, other than that, is just making sure you don't have anything else in the RV that can freeze, right?
Mhm.
So, if you have cleaners and stuff like that that are in there, you want to make sure all that stuff's out before it's going to freeze. Now, there's people down in the southern US that may store their RV for longer periods of time in between use. There's also people that use their RV later in the season. So they're up north maybe through the holidays. And then after the new year, they're going to get in the RV and go down south. You do need to de-winterize your coach when you're going south or once you get there, and then make sure you're re-winterizing it once you're going to be coming back into the below freezing conditions.
Would you say that there is a best time of year to start this preparation, or is it just kind of again in cycles when you're going to be needing to do that?
Yeah, so it depends on how you're going to use your unit. There are quote unquote four season RVs out there. You can keep the heat on. They may have tank heaters, things like that. You're going to use quite a bit of energy to keep an RV warm in cold conditions. But if you're going to be putting it in storage and you're not going to be using it, then the key to it is doing this work before freezing weather sets in.
Okay. And would you say that there are any most common maintenance tasks that are overlooked by people that you've seen or heard about?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are people who forget to winterize their RV. I've seen that over the years that come into the shop and they realize, oh, I didn't winterize it, and so in January they're showing up with a completely frozen RV, or they forget part of the system, so they don't do the water heater, or they don't follow the directions correctly and end up having equipment damage as a result. And so, there's instructions for winterizing. There's lots of videos out there. People show how to do it. I've done articles on plumbing system winterizing. So it's not that big a deal. But if you're uncomfortable with it, you can have your favorite certified RV technician, whether it's a mobile tech or dealer or whatever, come out and either come out and do it, or you can take it to them and get it done. The other thing people don't do is winterize and de-winterize prep kits. And what I mean by that is you can buy an RV that is prepped for, say, a washer dryer. Now, some manufacturers, they run stubbed up pipe only to where the washer dryer would be, and it's capped off, and there's no valves, and so it's actually shut off underneath the rig. So Alliance, for instance, I think is known to do that. There may be others. Others will have the valve and everything all the way up to where the washer dryer hooks up. If it's stubbed out and there's no valve, you don't have to worry about it, because they've taken care of that. If, however, you have the valves up there, you need to make sure that those pipes are winterized. And so, again, we're getting the antifreeze through the hot and cold, both. And then also, we want to make sure that we are winterizing the drain systems.
This might be a little difficult because you've just gone over a lot of really helpful information. If you had to like boil this all down into a checklist of items
Mhm.
to make sure that people are going through, what would that checklist be?
Okay, again, winterizing your plumbing system, cleaning the RV inside and out, doing your engine maintenance,
Yeah.
and making sure the RV is protected for the season. So covering it, making sure it's parked properly, that type of thing.
There anything else that you wanted to add before we kind of finish up here?
Well, don't forget that you can use your RV during the winter time, and you may want to. It depends on the type of RV that you have and what kind of things you enjoy doing with it. A lot of people will take their motorhomes out for skiing and things like that, depending on where you are in the country. If you're going to take your RV out, you don't have to use the plumbing system. So, winterizing and de-winterizing the plumbing system is up to you. You can certainly use your RV without those.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Chris, for joining me, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy week ahead.